What if Mega Aerodactyl was in Gen 1 OU? Or I guess you can say, what if Aerodactyl in Gen 1 had Mega Aerodactyl stats? Either one of those works. Might seem like a weird one, because there's no held items in Gen 1, and like that's true. But I figured, okay, so maybe like Mega Aerodactyl could either just be considered its own Pokemon, or like the evolved form of Aerodactyl, or Aerodactyl just gets retconned to where it has Mega Aerodactyl stats. Which, on one hand, you might think, wow, that sounds really overpowered. And it does give you some advantages, that's for sure. But also, the thing you need to understand is that Aerodactyl in Gen 1 has an abysmal move pool. It was so close to being like a meta contender in Gen 1 OU. But its stats are just so bad that there's nothing you can do about it. And that's really unfortunate. But that's why I was curious about if Mega Aerodactyl, with the stat increase, would I be able to balance it out? Would it be good in Gen 1 OU? Only one way to find out. Alright, so this one is easy, like, which is like a normal Aerodactyl, because I don't plan on changing the moveset at all. So whatever Aerodactyl has, Mega Aerodactyl will have, and, yeah. Like, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is what Aerodactyl has in Gen 1. So for good moves as Agility, Double Edge, Fire Blast, Hyper Beam, Reflect, Rest, and Substitute. If you want to be spicy, maybe you can have like... There's not even anything here. I don't even see like Headbutt on here. That's like a trade backs. And by the way, I know Aerodactyl gets like Earthquake and I think like Headbutt and trade backs. However, yeah, I just don't think that's a good idea. But I forgot Mimic was here. That's actually interesting. Huh. So, not much of a move pool here. There's only like 3 truly usable moves in Double Edge, Fire Blast, and Hyper Beam. And that is unfortunate. Like, if you want to try to go for a 10% flinch with like Bite, maybe go for a champ. But whatever you use now just doesn't really matter. Like, maybe Reflects you will normal types even more. Rest you can heal off damage. But like, or I guess that could work if you're trying to roll like a normal type. Substitute maybe. But you're already taking a lot of recoil from Double Edge. So maybe Supersonic. So that you just like make me confused. But I didn't like testing the replays. I kind of regret not doing that now. But now I'm curious if Mimic is the way to go. Because, like, let's say you're predicting they're going to go into a Special Mon, right? You use Mimic. And depending on what you get, it could be actually pretty useful. So I'm not sure. I kind of regret not testing that out. But this is probably the moves you get from Mega Aerodactyl. Double Edge, Fire Blast, Hyper Beam, the Mimic. So yeah, weird moveset with no stat moves, and your main attacking move gives you recoil, which is not good, especially for the role Mega Aerodactyl wants to achieve. But what is that anyways? Well, we see with normal Aerodactyl here, right? As you can see, it's like defense and special aren't the best. Ironically, with this series, most of the mons I've covered have like 60 special. So I have like a decent amount of knowledge about just how much that really does in the meta. It like does a decent amount of damage to like Tauros, but not like where it's like actually considered like a threat. It's enough to where you can survive super effective hits from like, let's say, a Blizzard or like a Ice Beam or like Surf, but nothing you can really count on. And yeah, it's not the best in the world. But what Aerodactyl has going for it is typing. Being a rock type is, you know, shouldn't be that surprising. That's pretty good in Gen 1. Having a normal resistance is huge. Normal resistance, I said this quickly. And for regular Aerodactyl, I'm pretty sure like Snorlax only does like a 20% on Body Slam, and the Tauros can't even hit a 20% without a crit. And that's pretty good. For 65 defense, that's not half bad. Not to mention being a flying type gives it immunity to Earthquake, which might seem redundant, or like, it doesn't really matter, since, you know, you're obviously like still weak to Rhydon's Rock Slide. Not to mention, you can't even hurt it in return. At best, you can just, like, use Fire Blast and pray for a burn. However, like, Rhydon is the only one that uses Earthquake in Gen 1. I'm sure there's other examples like Sandslash or like niche Pokemon that are used like in the that you sometimes see in OU. But Tauros uses Earthquake too. It's mainly there for Gengar. However, there are some Chansey sets that use Counter, which, you know, a pretty good move. Like, not as like Resawa Gen 1, but it actually has some like nice niches that like are unique for this generation, but we'll go over that another day. But one big difference with Counter in this gen is that it only works on normal and fighting type moves. So that's why a lot of times when Tauros is trying to fight Chansey, it will actually use Earthquake and not try to go for a critical Body Slam. It just wait until it's able to get KO on Hyper Beam. Because that way it doesn't have to worry about Chansey potentially one-hit KOing you with Counter. So Mega Aerodactyl over here, that gives it a perfect opportunity to have a free switch in. It doesn't have to worry about like paralysis with like from Body Slam. But even if it does, like Mega Aerodactyl has like 10 more special than a regular Aerodactyl, which puts it at the same special as Tauros. So it can do a slightly better job at surviving things, which would be pretty good, and it kind of is. However, unlike Tauros, who is a pure normal type, being a rock and flying means that you become weak to both water, electric, and ice. Which means that even though like you can still like survive the hits, you won't be as specially tanky as Tauros is. And even then, Tauros isn't really known for being like a special tank in the first place. Honestly, like, I think the only reason you have Blizzard at all is because Rhydon is just super low and special. So you can guarantee KO with that, but for the most part you don't really want to use it. But other than that, there's some other stuff. Like, it has better defenses. And for Gen 1 standards, 85 is actually pretty good. Not to mention, like, those, like, 20% on, like, Body Slam and, like, crits and whatnot with, like, Tauros. You have an even better time, like, fighting those now. And while you're only barely stronger than Tauros before at 105, Tauros' base 100 attack, now you have a monstrous 135. So now, even though you don't have stab, you're definitely hitting a lot harder. And speaking of hitting a lot harder, now with its speed boost at 150, you now tie with Electrode as the fastest Pokemon in the game. However, since Electrode is quite frankly garbage, there's no reason to use it. But because of that, Mega Aerodactyl is just the fastest thing in the game. And being the fastest thing in the game, with a normal resistance, earthquake immunity, and let's not forget a really high crit rate. Like, I'm pretty sure regular Aerodactyl already has like 25%. So being over that, like over a fourth of the time you just get a crit, that is, quite frankly, a huge game changer. It already had pretty consistent crits. Make them even more consistent almost makes up for the lack of like Sab. Now, granted, I could have like had trade packs to give this like Earthquake, but I think it'd be more interesting just to keep it like how it is. But yeah, like it hits a lot harder now. That's pretty good. And it's tankier now, so it won't take as much, and recoil won't be as like detrimental. That's also pretty good. But it still has some problems, because it still has a really small move pool. If this thing had Rock Slide, I would say it's 100% in like OU, but it doesn't. If it had Earthquake, well, I don't know about regular Aerodactyl, but I actually feel like if this thing had Earthquake, it would actually 100% be like OU, because then it would have something to hit Gengar with. You would probably use that instead of you could get rid of Double Edge or Mimic. I'm not even sure if you use Mimic, but like Gengar, I don't even need to like show you any like moves. Just being a like a ghost type with high special, Aerodactyl can't really hit it. Like I said before, Rhydon just completely walls it. And I didn't do any testing But I'm pretty sure Jolteon just either kills it with like a Thunderbolt, or you just survive. You could probably survive a hit. Yeah, I can't really say Aerodactyl is one-shotting like Jolteon without Earthquake. So like it can just paralyze Aerodactyl. And then I'm assuming like Cloyster is just like too bulky. So like you can even with like crits, I don't think you're gonna take it out. So you just get like Blizzard or Clamped. Which I know you're like, wait, you didn't like make any replays? Like I already may have like 13. So it's already gonna take a while to show you some examples of what Mega Aerodactyl can do. But let's just get into that, shall we? Alright, so against Tauros, with a crit, you just flat out 2-hit KO it. That is pretty good. And without it, you do like a 4th. So it's like guaranteed, which is nice. But yeah, sometimes you just miss, Hyper Beam and you just lose. Next time, just don't be a scrub. And then Blizzard does like half of your health still. So that's, or like basically half your health, like 45. Which is unfortunate. But, or is that close to a third? It might be close to a third. And then, like, obviously you still get a lot of crits, so even some, like, Fire Blast is gonna really hurt. But, actually, I'm actually not like, okay, obviously, like, a 3-hit KO, or 2-hit KO with Blizzard isn't always guaranteed once you get a crit. But is Tauros' Blizzard just a 3-hit KO always? I'd have to do more testing, but if that's the case, that actually does, that is, like, a bit of a game changer. Because that gives Aerodactyl more time to fish for crits. Which is pretty good. Oh boy. Too many of these, replays. They keep refreshing. Here we have Snorlax. Double Edge isn't as much as I would hope for. But I would still say it's pretty good. Like, you can, like, what is that? Like, can't be a 5-hit KO. Or in practice, is probably not. So Aerodactyl got lucky there. But if, like, Snorlax used, like, an Ice Beam there, like, obviously would have been screwed. So, I'm not really, I would say you probably have a better matchup, because Snorlax needs to, like, set up. And since you're so fast, like, I don't think Snorlax really wants to give you more chances to, like, fish for crits. And it seems like that's the only thing, like, it can do. Like, it needs to set up Amnesia, but I don't think it wants to try to set up Amnesia in front of a Mega Aerodactyl. Because the odds are probably in your favor. Or I think they're definitely in your favor. This is annoying, I'm sorry. Flashing light warning. And here we have Chansey. Double Edge is like, I think a third, Ice Beam 2-hit KOs you. And then a Hyper Beam just KOs you. As Chansey. So, this one's probably one of those things that can go either way. But, obviously I think with Mega Aerodactyl's like huge crit rate, it has a better chance against you. So I don't think Chansey wants to like stay in against you. And this is annoying, but it doesn't matter. It just takes a second to change. Alakazam, this one actually kind of surprised me. Okay, now that doesn't surprise me that much. A critical double edge is like killing Alakazam. But, yeah, we have another one. Because, like, with, like, Thunder Wave, I was thinking, okay, so that makes, like, Alakazam kind of unviable. Or not Alakazam, Aerodactyl. But, even if it's paralyzed, the normal attack is still pretty good. Not only that, but, yeah, like, you can still survive some special hits, and you still have a high crit rate even if you're paralyzed. So, I'm actually not sure if Alakazam wants to stay in or not. It could go for Thunder Wave, but if Aerodactyl crits, it's kind of game over for you. Which is kind of insane to think about. Here we have Executor. Executor, as usual, can usually stir up a lot of trouble. Unfortunately, even with a crit, like, Fire Blast doesn't kill. It does a lot of freaking damage. And then I think Alakazam, like, 2-hit or 3-hit KOs here. So, at the bright side, even against, like, these special balls, Aerodactyl can do a lot of damage to where, well, you can easily get, just revenge kill. Which is nice. But I'm pretty sure Executor is probably willing to risk it. Here we have Double Edge. It doesn't even, like, do 30%. Really unfortunate. Hyper Beam doesn't even do, like, half its health, which is also unfortunate. But I feel like a critical critical hits in Gen 1 do double the damage, right? So, you might want to risk it with Hyper Beam. Actually, I think with Executor, you probably would risk Hyper Beam instead of, Fire Blast. Because I'm pretty sure that, like... Yeah, because, like, even if, like, you don't kill it, it's just a complete sweep and do the, like, Gen 1 mechanics, you know, like, that means you don't have to, like, wait your recharge turn. So, interesting. Like, it's still, like, very much in Executor's favor. But, yeah. And then Psychic does, like, a 4th. Which is, it's alright. Like, it's one of the few specials that, like, you know, AERODACTYL can tank. So with that, it's just like Tauros, where it can take a few hits. Which I'm not sure why Executor would, like, Psychic you instead of just, like, going for, like, putting you to sweep. I would say, like, the Executor matchup does significantly better once you, what's it called? Like, you're already saying that's a sweeping. But Executor still has, you know, Stun Spore. Although, I'm not sure if it'll be willing to risk Stun Spore versus, Sweep Powder. Because with Stun Spore, like, it can still hit you. And it can still fish for crits. Not to mention, since you 4-hit KO it with Psychic. I'm actually not sure. This is interesting. Like, definitely weird. Like, as you can probably tell, because of, like, the lack of coverage and whatnot, like, it's not like a Mega Pokemon. It just torments everything with big stats. And ends up, like, having a lot of weird interactions. And, like, the crits are nice. But do you really just, like, do you want to only depend on those crits? If you only want to depend on the crits, like, I don't know. Like, it kind of makes you wonder if it's worth it or not. Like, as you could probably tell, Mega AERODACTYL is good, but I don't think it's, like, exactly like an auto-include. And I just did this one just to see how much Double Edge does. It's like a Queen 2-hit KO. A crit probably just one-hits it. But that's never gonna happen. We both know that. You're not gonna just go for Double Edge. With Jinx, you probably just gonna go for the kill. And I was curious to see how much Fire Blast does. And I'll never know. But Blizzard is a 2-hit KO. So, if you're Jinx, you probably have no chance. Other than, like, just, you have to go for Waffle Kiss. You could go for, like, a Blizzard. But it's probably just for AERODACTYL's favor. Since, like, you're not guaranteed to kill it without a crit. Which, yeah, that might be kind of scary. But as for a Waffle Kiss, like, Hyper Beam, I think... Yeah, it doesn't KO. But, Critical might. So... In all actuality... I'm not actually sure if, like, I'm not sure if Jinx wants to stay in or not. I'm not sure if it would risk it. What I would bet is that it probably wouldn't, because it might be a little too risky. If you're feeling bold, you can go for it. But I think one of Mega AERODACTYL's roles, I think it could be a legitimately good lead. And with that lead, it forcing the opponent to reveal their Rhydon early. Because while stuff like Cloyster or like Slowbro can like wall it pretty easily, I don't think it wants to like take neutral hits like that. Because AERODACTYL can get crits on them. It can, you know, eventually do something. But Rhydon's like the only one in the game that truly walls it, regardless if it hit crits or not. So yeah, that would actually lead to a very interesting, you know, like, metagame if Mega AERODACTYL was in it. Not only that, but, like, as you could probably tell, it's, like, pretty good, but I don't think it's overpowered. And I feel like it has enough, it's, like, unique enough, and, like, has enough tools and strengths and weaknesses to where it would be a good rock type. But it would be very different from Rhydon, so it wouldn't be an auto-include. There might even be a legitimate argument to include both of them. So here we have Starmie. Mega Double Edge is like 30% of your health, which is pretty good. Thunderbolt doesn't kill you, even with a crit. But a crit Hyper Beam definitely kills Starmie. That easily surprised me. But what if it has Surf? Or Blizzard? With Blizzard, you probably die to a crit. But it's also, like, less accurate. But you would probably risk it either way. And then we have another one. This time Double Edge is a little bit more. So, like, a 4-hit KO. And then Surf, like, 2-hit KOs you. Which is nice. But, yeah. if you're Starmie, what exactly do? Do you paralyze it? If you paralyze it, you go for like a recover, but then you can get some crits. I don't know, Starmie has the tools to take it out, but I don't think it really wants to. I think it would rather something else take it out. So, I think I need to change the tier list, because this is more interesting than I thought. Alright. Yeah, a lot of these I think I'm going to take out of unwinnable. Actually, I think I'm going to put Snorlax in a great matchup. Maybe even... Okay, maybe not Tauros. But Snorlax, I think I'm going to change the great. Because I think that legitimately, like, Snorlax can't really do anything against you. It doesn't want to stay in. I'm going to... Slowbro, I'll put in bad matchups. But maybe... Actually, I'll put in Good Go either way. Like, Slowbro can't really one-hit KO with, Surf. It can't one-hit KO with Surf. It needs to paralyze. And even then, like, it needs to paralyze instead of always one amnesia to kill. That gives Mega AERODACTYL at least 2 attacks. It can, like, seriously harm you. I'll put Jolteon in bad matchups. It's probably not unwinnable. Zapdos Okay, I kind of want to... I'm not willing to, like, go on my phone again and make another replay. I'll just do it like this. Or just, keep it the tier list the way it is. But, yeah. Here's what I think the viability would be. And, yeah. There's one thing I can say. Mega AERODACTYL would make the game much more interesting. And I am just not sure, like, how good Mimic would be. Because if you can get a good special move, or I guess like Thunder Wave, that could be a huge game changer. Ooh, but what if you, like, face, like, a Gengar and copy Explosion? Ooh, that's interesting. So, yeah, what do you think? I feel like, with Mega AERODACTYL, I don't feel like I have a solid answer. I feel like I need to actually use this thing, like, in battle, see how good it would actually be. In fact, I think there's a lot of Megas. Like, more so I only have, like, Kanto Megas in mind. But I feel a lot of, like, Kanto Megas, like, wouldn't be overpowered in Gen 1. And instead would, like, they would actually be, like, you know, pretty, like, balanced. So would you be willing to, like, watch another video where I go over a Mega? I 100% want to do Mega Charizard X. Because it already appears in Pokemon Origin, so it's basically already in Red and Blue. Lamau. But, other than that, any other ones you like to see? And what about just like, Megas? What about just regular Pokemon? Any Pokemon you like to see me go over and being a Gen 1 OU? Let me know. I'll be curious to see, what you guys have to say. I always, like, read you guys' comments, and if you comment something, I will, like, look into it. Because comments make me happy. But until then, this is Groundback. I look forward to hearing from you.